Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Glamour Code. This is the very first episode, and I thought it would be best to kind of introduce myself, a bit of my background, what I've kind of been up to in the lead up to the journey to building or creating, in the first place, Glamour Glasses. So if you don't know me already, my name is Erin Watt and I am the owner of Glamour Glasses. I started the company in September last year, September 2019, and we are in our 9th month now. We're still very much, we're a startup, but we're in the growth phase now. So really scaling things and seeing where things can go. So I do share a lot on the Glamour Glasses page, but I kind of wanted to differentiate the two now that it's growing a little bit more, build up my personal profile so that I can share a little bit more that's not really relevant for the Glamour Glasses page as well. I have no plan of what I'm going to say today. I'm just winging it. I literally had a thought last night that I should create a podcast, and I've had people say it to me in the past, and I thought, I don't really want to commit to it because unless I can be consistent and show up, at least weekly, then it's kind of pointless. But I had the thought last night, and then this morning I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to create my own podcast. So yeah, here I am. Like I said, I have no plan of really what I'm going to say, but I guess I thought I'd just start at the beginning. So I do have a university degree. I did a public relations degree. If I had my time again, would I do it? Probably not. I feel like degrees, especially these days, are really overrated. A lot of what I did made up of marketing and communications, and a lot of what I learned is just super non-relevant in today's world. We didn't learn about social media, we didn't learn about Instagram or Facebook or influencers, and it's kind of like the universities and the big guys, they don't want to consider that things have actually moved in that direction now, but they certainly have. So if I had my time again, probably wouldn't do it, no, but it led me onto this path of ambition, I guess you could say. I've always been ambitious. I've always wanted to do more. Growing up in a household with a single parent who was raising 3 kids. She had 3 kids by 24. She had it tough. I mean, we never really went without, but it was like we knew that we couldn't have, the extra things that we wanted. So I guess you could say that's where the ambitions kind of come from. And then, so what I did while I was at university, I worked at a doctor's surgery, and I worked there for quite some time. I was asked by a couple of the doctors who were leaving and going to open their new practice, would I want to go and help them run and set up that practice, to which I did. And I worked very, very long hours. I think it was about 12 to 14 hours a day. And I got it set up and I loved it. And I mean, as I get older, I've got less energy, but back then I was doing like 14-hour days, and I was going to uni as well, and I loved it. And I always wanted to do something of my own, but I never really knew what it would be. I didn't have much experience, so I knew I couldn't create a PR company. I couldn't even get a job coming out of uni in PR because it was just the number of companies, like supply and demand, the number of companies compared to the number of students that were kind of going into it, there wasn't enough. So a lot of the companies at the time, they just did internship after internship and wouldn't give anyone a job, really. So my first business, I guess you could say, so I kind of went a few years in between different kind of jobs, and nothing really sat well with me. There was nothing that I thought, it was just kind of like an itch, like I've got to do something of my own. I've always been really creative and just wasn't really sure what it was. So a lot of my 20s, I mean, I'm 32 now, but a lot of my 20s was just total trial and error. And I guess you could say my first taste of the business life was in a MLM company, so network marketing. And while that wasn't totally for me at the time, it's not really for me in general, but it really set up the foundation. And what they do with network marketing is, if you want to do something but you don't know what, they have really good structures and frameworks for you to be able to have your own thing going on. And it's also where I first learned about and started practicing personal development and growing myself and investing in myself. So while it wasn't for me, it was definitely the start of the journey. So after that, I did that and I really threw myself into it. It was a company called MLSP, My Lead System Pro, and they taught attraction marketing. They more sold just the courses and things that the leaders within the company, who were big earners, $500,000, $1 million earners, the things that they had. So they were selling all of those, and I really learned a lot about attraction marketing. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically where you are giving out content for free in order to attract the right audience to you, so then you can sell them a product or a service at a later time, which totally makes sense because everything at the moment is just really oversaturated, and you really need to stand out amongst the crowd to be able to stand out. So I did that and I really threw myself into it, and I was going through a really bad time. I had moved to New Zealand. I'd sold everything I owned with my daughter, who was almost 2 at the time. It was around just before Christmas time. And I was asked to go start a company with somebody who was a really top of a newspaper company who was made redundant in New Zealand, and we're going to start like a PR kind of media outlet. So of course, me being as ambitious as I was, jumped at the opportunity, sold everything I had, moved over there, and I just got a bad vibe as soon as I got there. Things just weren't planning out. There was no business kind of stuff that we were working towards. And then the people who I was staying with come to Australia on holiday. So I was there by myself with no car, my daughter, and just feeling really homesick. And then, I just realized like this wasn't for me. So I come back, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. I caught a flight with my daughter and I had nowhere to live. Went and stayed with my auntie in Queensland, and it was just like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? Like, I've just sold everything. I have nothing besides a couple of suitcases. And then, I threw myself into this My Lead System Pro, and for a couple of months, I think it was maybe 4 to 6 months, every single day I was doing what they said. I was putting out YouTube content. I was doing everything, blogging every day, and that really definitely laid the foundation for everything that I am doing now, I guess. So after that, I ended up moving back down to Wollongong because my daughter's grandparents were here. I don't really have much family here, but just that support for her I wanted her to have. And I went back and worked at the doctor's surgery for a while, and then I thought, I did a lot of stuff in real estate like while I was working from home, and I loved property. Like, I've done a lot of property development stuff. I've been coached in property development by a guy called Bob Anderson. He's the top property developer in Australia. He's a billion dollar property developer. He's brilliant. I did his mentoring program with an older guy that I'd met at a seminar, a Renovating for Profit, Cherie Barber's seminar, and he was quite well off, and we just started talking at this event. And I said, I want to do something, but I'm really limited with cash flow. Like, I'm really ambitious, and he kind of had the money to do it, but he didn't have the time to do it. And we kind of struck up, I guess you could say, like a working professional relationship where he really showed me what's possible. I mean, I didn't have anyone growing up around me who had a business or had anything to kind of look up to that I could emulate. And he was the first person that I had met and was able to speak to in person that had, you know, a top telco company in Sydney and a whole lot of things. And he'd come from a disadvantaged background where he moved over from India with nothing and started, and anyway, that's another long story. But yeah, so it really started to plant those seeds, I guess, to show myself what is possible. And that if, you know, this is someone in real life, and if they can do it, why can't I do it? And he's the one that actually we went to do this private mentorship for the property development. We're still friends today. And, but it, so basically I was doing these things from home, and then I thought I'm going to go get my real estate license because I've got all this knowledge now. And I did, and I ended up working with a really great agency down here. While I didn't love the real estate, I mean, I loved real estate, I didn't love what you had to do to get listings. So your cold calling, your door knocking, your letterbox dropping. And I'm like, man, after doing the attraction marketing stuff, it was really difficult when I knew how many people I could reach online. It was really difficult to have to go and approach people that did not want to be approached. But still, I did it. I got up at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning for hours. I did that 4 times a week for about 3 or 4 months, and I got one phone call, and I was just like, nah, this is bullshit. Like, something's got to give. And then I started posting stuff like online, on Facebook, and I loved styling. I'd never done styling before, but I was able to do it through the agency that I was at. I just started buying all of my own homewares and things like that. And then, yeah, they hired me to style. So from there, I was styling through that agency. Any listings that they had come through, they would then pay me to style the properties. And I thought, real estate's really expensive for what the agents are doing. And I mean, some of them are getting huge commissions for doing not very much. And I thought, surely there's a way to add more value to this. And what I did was I left that agency and I started my own agency, and I was able to get all of my certification and create a company to be able to do all of that. And what I did was I started styling and real estate as a complementary, real estate and a styling where I complementary style the property, which is a brilliant idea because people are spending thousands, like 5 to 10K plus just on property styling. So I struggled because I was not really known in the area that I was in, and I called myself her property co. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I was just different to the corporate agent that most people are used to seeing. And I kind of get it now because I just thought I wanted to be different. I wanted to be different than what the other agents were doing, how they were dressing and everything like that. But I ended up signing up with a lady who called me, who she was referred to me by somebody else, I think. And of course it was like the shittest house in the shittest suburb. It had no parking. It had this massive set of stairs leading up to the front door. It had no privacy in the backyard. Like basically everything that you don't want to try and sell. It was the first, and I'll add the only listing I had through her property co. And I styled the house and it was just months. It wasn't selling. The market was starting to decline. This was last year, the start of last year. And yeah, the market was starting to decline. I was like, fuck, what is going on? I just thought, like, if I styled it nice and I had nice photos, I was doing premium marketing, I'd put thousands of dollars of my own money into it, because that's what you do. You put the money up front and then you get reimbursed at the end when you sell it. But if you don't sell it, you're screwed. And so me going in as a rookie, I didn't really know how to do anything. And if you followed me for a while now, you'd know that I'm just winging everything, like most of us are. No one who's done anything knows how to do it. So you're just guessing. So I did these contracts up, didn't do the contracts properly. She wanted to pull the house off the market. She was in a bit of a financial pressure from the bank as well, which I get. And I was pregnant with my son, who just turned 1. And so it was a week before I was booked in for my cesarean section to have him. And she told me she's pulling it off the market. And I was like, okay, no worries. And then she'd also suddenly forgotten about our contract for her. If she decided not to sell, that she'd have to pay me back the money. And then after that, I was just devastated. At the time, it was like $3,000 or something. And I was like, man, that's so much money, like of my own, I've wasted. And what the fuck am I gonna do? And Jono, my partner, he's just like this, you don't need to worry about it. Like, just get the removalist, go get your shit out. And this was like 2 days before the booked cesarean. So I had to go pack up all the stuff in the house while she was there, and then get the removalist. And I was just like, I just realized I don't love this enough to continue to put myself through shit I hate doing. Like, it's all well and good if you love something and you have a passion for something. These minor failures, I guess you could say, or these hiccups, they don't mean anything, because you're just like, oh, all right, keep going, keep going, keep going. Like, there's been so many Glamour Glasses, and each time they happen, I like cry a little bit less, and you get up every time. But this time I was just like, I don't love this enough to put myself through this pain. And so I was just like, nah, I just need some time. I need to just prepare to have this baby, and I'll worry about it later. And I was listening, because I always listen to a lot of podcasts and watch motivational speakers on YouTube and read books, and like I said, lots of personal development. So I'd heard somebody speaking about e-commerce, and I was like, oh man, that'd be awesome. Like, not to be in a service-based business where you are going out and having to see people, and a lot of the time face people that don't want to be faced. And I thought being online is a great way to just have things available to people who want them. So I think it was only about a month after I had the baby. Actually, no, that's a lie. It would have been a few weeks, because I remember just being at home on the lounge, and I'm not meant to drive for 6 weeks or walk, and I was just bored out of my brain. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to start researching it. So I was looking up different products, and then I remember this time a few years ago, and I saw this girl on Instagram, and she had these blue light glasses on, and I was like, wow. And when I was little, I was one of those kids, and I do apologize to my mother, but I wanted glasses so bad that I lied on a test. You know, when you have to read the optometrist board, I lied on the test, and I was like, oh, I think that's like a P when it was a B or something, and I ended up getting these glasses, and while they were like not like, they barely had any prescription in them, I wore them everywhere and I loved them. And it's funny because now that Glamour Glasses is growing and it's getting the only backlash that I've had is from women who wear glasses, who have always had to wear glasses and they've not been cool to them, and they can't comprehend why on earth someone would want to wear glasses when they don't need to. But anyway, so I had these glasses, and then when I saw this girl on Instagram with these blue light glasses, and I was like, oh my God, you're telling me I can wear, like as an adult, it's acceptable to wear glasses when you don't actually need to, like they're actually serving a purpose for something else. So I got them. They took about 3 weeks to get here. I think I paid about $65. Actually, I think they were about $50 US. So at the time, I think it was probably about $60 or $55 or something. It was pretty on par then. And they were the flimsiest things. I think I actually still have them somewhere. The lenses went blue, like bright blue, and they were just, oh, they were absolute rubbish. And you could tell like they were just drop shipped straight from China. They had no branding on them or whatever. And that company that I got them from, they're actually still around today, and they're actually a really profitable business. And so when I was at home and thinking about what I could do, I remembered these glasses, and I think it was, they just started to hit the market like a bit more here at the time. But the companies that were around were like Baxter Blue. I think that's the only one I really knew, but they were targeting, they do men and women's, and me being from a marketing kind of background, I wanted to target just women. And so I thought, oh, there's not really anything in Australia to do that. I got samples of the glasses. The glasses were shit, to be honest. And I'm like, I just can't sell these. Like, I can't bring myself to sell something that I don't love and that I wouldn't be 100% happy with. And so I ended up sourcing a company that sells optical frames. So frames that are purchased by companies such as OPSM and optometrists, and then they put the prescription lens in them. So they were able to actually add blue light filters to the glasses, and these are they're 96% of blue light. The highest is 100, obviously, but I think there's one company that does them, and the lenses are like bright yellow or bright orange. And yeah, I got these glasses. I didn't know honestly how they sell. And then leading up to everything, I started sharing the process. And because I watched a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he says like, just show people what you're doing every day. Like, that's what people want to see. Everything's so edited in today's world that people love seeing authenticity. And so before I even launched, I was sharing like the live unboxings, and I had no idea, like I didn't even have time to get samples of the glasses because I'd put a launch date on the website, and I didn't have any time to get the samples, and I just ordered a couple of 100 pairs and just fingers crossed and hope for the best. And they were actually beautiful, and I was so happy, and I still have that story up on the Glamour Glasses page. And so, yeah, we literally launched really fast, and I created a buzz around it on the Glamour Glasses page, and I asked followers like, what do you think of this, or just showing different things. And still today, that's what a lot of followers say, that's what they really enjoy about our page, and that's what differentiates us from other brands, is that we're really showing what's going on with our customers. So off to the launch, and then things have been very up and down since. And I think that's normal with business, and that's what people don't talk about, is that the highs are really high, but the lows are really low. And like initially when I was going into business and I thought like, oh, I'm not really good at this, I'm not cut out for this. If I was cut out for this, then I'd be better at it. But no, it's not. You have to go through those failures. No one ever has a smooth sailing of success to the very top. If you start to read books and listen to podcasts, everyone has those lows before they have those highs. Like, you have to endure it, and it's all a part of it. It's just a stepping stone. So I think having learned everything that I learned leading up to this business, it's made it more realistic, I guess you could say, because when I do get to those points of, for example, now, this month has been really tough because we've sold out of all of our stock again. And the last time that we sold out of our stock it took months to build back up again. Like, I'm talking months. But at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't started Facebook ads. My pixel wasn't working very well. It wasn't trained. I didn't have a high-level e-commerce coach either. So now I'm in a much, much better position. But it's still scary because you think like, oh, like, how are things going to pick up? Or, but it's just all part of it, and it's supply chain and inventory management. And, knowing how much stock that we've got to have on hand to be able to supply our customers. And like, you'll never get it right. I mean, our sales, when they're growing 200% month to month, our last month we did 25K, and the month before that was 8. So it's like, it's really hard to determine how much you're going to sell and how much stock you're going to have to buy, because it's just growing all of the time. And then on top of it, there's like a 2-month wait as well. So it's, there's a lot of different struggles like that. But if I had come into this thinking that at the first sight of a failure or a hiccup or something going wrong, that I'm not cut out for this, then I would have quit a long time ago. And so I think that is the point, I guess, I want to get across in this very first podcast, and what I talk about a lot on my Glamour Glasses page. And that is that even though most people don't share the lows, they're there. They're definitely there, and they're meant to be. They're a stepping stone to your success. So yeah, I know I've rambled a little bit for the very first podcast. I'm going to go back through and give it a look and an edit, but I hope you enjoyed it. I would love if you could give us a rating on here. It's really just going to help to show others what the podcast is about. And yeah, all right, well, thank you so much for listening. I will definitely improve upon the rambling next time. But I hope you all have a great day.